Hey there Spartans, my name's Tyler, aka Spartan Snyder, and in this episode of the Monday Breakdown, we are discussing the Flood, the precursors, and their link to Halo Infinite. Now, while it's not yet confirmed that the Flood are going to be in Halo Infinite, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that they will make an appearance. First off, we've already gotten confirmation that the ring that we see, or the ring that we're on, is Zeta Halo. Now, Zeta Halo has a lot of significance in the Halo universe, and it's actually referred to in the Forerunner trilogy. Now, in the trilogy, we're actually taken to the ring through the eyes of Chakras. We do learn that on Zeta Halo, they are conducting, at least the Forerunner are, conducting human experiments to see if they can find a cure or a way to combat the Flood. Now, we know this is the case because through Chakras' eyes, we can see that he interacts with a bunch of different humans on the Zeta Halo ring who refer to this place called the Palace of Pain. Now, it's this large structure, very much similar to the one that we see on the box art and in the gameplay itself. So a lot of fans are speculating that this is where we're going to see the Flood come from if it's going to make an appearance in Halo Infinite at all. We only know this because Chakras does eventually enter the Palace of Pain and he witnesses these experiments that are being performed on humans for himself. We also know that there is a precursor being held there known as the Primordial. Now, precursors are a very interesting species in the Halo universe. To learn about them, we have to go back billions of years. So, why don't we start there? Now, much is not known of the precursors. What we do know is that in the Halo universe, they're responsible for seeding all the life in the Milky Way galaxy. And during their time, they took a liking to one species, the Forerunners. They believe that the Forerunners possessed the ability to take the mantle when they decided to leave the galaxy for another. However, after some time, the precursors decided that the Forerunners were not fit to hold the mantle and ultimately sought to destroy them. When the Forerunners found out about this, they were rightfully angered, and they took their anger out upon the precursors, nearly wiping them out. The precursors that escaped either went into suspended animation or became a molecular dust that eventually, over time, would regenerate them into their past forms. However, over millions of years, the dust became defective and failed to reconstruct the precursors. Instead, it induced madness and mutations in anything that it came into contact with. This would later become known as the Flood. Now, the Flood created quite a bit of problems, especially for ancient humanity. At the time, ancient humanity was a spacefaring race, much similar to that of the Forerunners. But what the Forerunners didn't know was that the Flood was a problem. Humanity, however, had come in direct contact with the Flood, and was doing their best to not only research and find a way to defeat the Flood, but was actively fighting Flood infections around the galaxy. Humanity tried desperately to contain the Flood. However, they were unsuccessful, and the Flood broke containment and eventually ended up infecting other alien species such as the Forerunners. Now, as advanced as the Forerunners were, the Flood wiped through them so fast that they had no way of warning the other Forerunner systems of the Flood. Humanity then took it upon itself to cleanse these worlds. When the Forerunners learned of it, they blamed humanity and accused humanity of starting a war with them. This created a two-front war for humanity that eventually would lead to their downfall. It was only after humanity was defeated that the Forerunner learned why their worlds were being attacked by humanity. And they found out that they weren't actually being attacked, but they were trying to save their worlds from the Flood itself. However, the damage had already been done. The Forerunners were also still angered that humanity was set to take the mantle of responsibility for them, and being that they now had them defeated, they now had the ability to punish them. And they did. The Forerunners took it upon themselves to essentially degrade humanity to a Stone Age society. And in doing so, they left themselves vulnerable to attack by the Flood. The Flood attacked the Forerunners, nearly wiping them out. The only thing that the Forerunners could do to save themselves was create the Halo arrays. The arrays that would wipe out all sentient life in the galaxy, starving the Flood out and causing it to die. By the time the Halo arrays were finished and primed and ready to fire, nearly all of the Forerunners had perished. While the Forerunner life workers had saved much of the other species, categorized them, and stored them on the rings, there weren't very many Forerunners left, at least not enough left to repopulate afterwards. And thus, they perished upon the firing of the Halo rings. However, as we know from Halo Combat Evolved, the Flood was also stored on the Halo rings. And as we saw in Halo 1, the Flood was released from the ring, causing a major outbreak. We were able to contain it by destroying the ring and what we believed was all traces of the Flood itself, but that didn't stop it from happening again in Halo 2 and in Halo 3.
Alright Spartans, that's going to do it for this week's episode of 5 Minute Friday. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave it a like, get subscribed, hit that bell icon, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I do enjoy reading your comments, and I read every single one of them. With that said, y'all have a good day, and I hope to see you in the next video.